Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my new subscribers. Hello, how are you? So glad that you joined me, and hopefully you can continue to find some valuable content here tailored just for you. Also, of course, welcome back to my regular subscribers who've been with me for a while, and thanks for sticking with me. And for those of you who are just stopping by, just passing by, and perhaps haven't subscribed yet, still welcome to you all. I'm distracted by looking out the window, wondering who these people are walking down the street outside there. I'm nosy. Anyway, today I wanted to do a quick tip for you having to do with readiness to perform. How do we know when we're ready to perform? This is a question that came up with one of my voice students, and we were working on some music that he is going to be performing coming up in the spring. I try to find definitely opportunities for students to perform in front of an audience, because after all, art, and particularly our art form, meaning performance art, music, poetry, all of those kinds of things, instrumental performances, they are meant to be shared with an audience, right? So it's like putting the other part to the art form. We create it just like drawings and paintings. We create it, that's one part of art, and then it is meant to be shared with an audience, shared with the world, and it completes the circle, so to speak. So getting back to this conversation I was having with my student, he is much closer to being ready to perform his song at this point, but a couple of months ago, closer to Christmas time, I remember he came by for a lesson, and he asked me at that time, what do you think about me performing and some opportunities for me to perform in front of an audience a little bit more often, because he's anxious to get out there and do some stuff, which I totally understand. And he was saying, well, even if it's just perhaps, even if, like, if you talk about me, if I could gather a few people together just to give him an opportunity to practice doing it in front of an audience. Now, when I know he has a performance coming up, a specific performance coming up, I always give him an opportunity to perform, to sing his song or songs in front of folks, so that he can start getting used to working with those nerves, right? So that's always important. But at that time, when he asked, it wasn't that it was a bad idea, but I didn't feel he was ready. And the way that I let him know that I don't, he wasn't ready, was I said to him, if you can sing a song, any song, because he writes music also, he writes original music as well, and I said, if you can sing any song, whether it's your own or someone else's or something we're working on, from start to finish, without it's not that it has to be perfect without a single stumble. I don't mean that, but without pausing to say, wait a minute, okay, well, hold on, I forgot that part. Okay, I've got it. I mean, where you can go start to finish, straight through, without stopping, beginning to end, remember every word and all that. When you can do that, you're still not ready to perform yet, but you're a little bit step closer, because sometimes when we're working on stuff, and sometimes if you're still more at the student/amateur level, where you haven't done a lot of performing, or very little, if any at all, you might be used to going through songs, maybe stopping for a second and oh yeah, let me finish the rest of it, and then you do the rest of it, and don't realize that you're farther from being ready to perform than you might think. Excuse me for a second. It is water. Got my blue water container here, my travel container, to match my blue here today. Anyway, not that I designed that on purpose, but anyway. So what I wanted to get to talk about today is this question of when do you know that you're ready to perform? When do you know that you're really ready to get out there and try your stuff out in front of folks? And a lot of times, especially first starting out, like I mentioned, some people think that if I know the song, or if I know the spoken word piece, if I know it from start to finish, I've learned it and I can perform this piece without stopping, that I'm ready to perform. And I say to that, no. That's barely step one. That's barely step one in the process of getting ready to present what you have to present to the world. Learning it, that's just the first step. So you've learned it, you know it now, as far as the fact that you can recite it or play it or sing it or whatever. But there's a long distance between what we are calling performing it and sharing it, showing it to the world. Being able to do a song from start to finish still doesn't deal with all those other musical and performance elements, such as how you will, now that you've learned it, how will you convey it to the audience? What aspects of it are you trying to emphasize and de-emphasize as you go through the piece from start to finish? What's, as you hear actors say oftentimes, what's the motivation behind the artistry itself, whether you create it yourself or whether you are singing or speaking someone else's words, or playing someone else's song that you didn't write. In any case, what what is the what's the motivation? Meaning, there's the motivation behind the composer's thoughts, be they your own if you're the composer or someone else, and then there's what do I bring to it. So there's all of the thinking that goes into that, what you're trying to get across and how you'll go about doing that. Because as we know, there are lots of different ways of interpreting and performing the exact same piece. You can do them in lots of ways depending upon what you're trying to convey at any particular time, depending upon the audience that you may be sharing it with at that particular time. So there are a lot of other elements to it, and just learning it is not the same. Being able to do it, so to speak, doing the song, doing the spoken word piece, is not the same as performing it. Again, terms that you will hear actors say oftentimes are things like and singers too, musicians, living with a song, really letting it become a part of who you are, and a part, really taking on the persona of the character in a particular song, and really contemplating who that person is as you climb into the skin of that character or that piece of music or whatever the case may be. So there are the personal elements, the message elements that you're getting across there, all of that beyond just I can play it from beginning to end, or I can speak it from beginning to end. So those are all things that most of us know about. Some of you may not, but definitely they're valuable and worth contemplating and really thinking about. Even the minor elements, I would say too. And really, when it comes to performance, there are no minor elements. When I say minor elements, I mean things like, I did a video, was it the last video, a couple videos back, last quick tip video, where I talked about one of the hardest, if not sometimes the hardest thing about performing or any particular song or performance piece, spoken word as well, is starting it. So it's not by any means a small thing, but even the aspect of how do you start it, how to think about that, to practice it. How will you step up to the mic? What will that look like? And there are things that you practice in your head, and there are things that you may actually physically do, just in terms of gestures and how you present yourself to the public. But that's all part of performance as well. And before I leave this subject, let me also say that by no means am I suggesting that every little, eye blink and every little muscular movement on stage has to be practiced within an instant of its life, as if you can't have any spontaneity. I don't mean to that degree when I say, practicing and going over the little details, but inhabit. That's the word I was looking for earlier, that you'll hear actors oftentimes and actresses say. This idea of inhabiting a role, inhabiting a song or a piece of spoken word, and let it inhabit you, so that you really live with it, so to speak, enough to understand where you are in that particular space with that item of art, that piece of art, that item of art, where you are, and what it means to you, thinking about all of that, so that in the spontaneity of the moment, it still fits and enhances the performance. And so yes, all of those elements are important to keep in mind to answer that question of, at what point am I ready to perform this? I've been working on it. Certainly things like, I've gotten to the point where I feel comfortable conveying this. I feel that you hear people talk about, and I've talked about, making it your own. I feel comfortable doing this song or this piece. I feel that I've made it my own. If you are playing an instrument, a lot of times instrumentalists, we will say, I've really gotten it in my fingers or under my fingers. If you're a vocalist, you'll say, a lot of times we'll say, it's in the voice. It's one thing to learn the song, but it's another thing to say that I've got it in my voice now. It's in the voice. So yeah, all of those elements are aspects of helping to answer that question of, at what point are we ready to perform any particular piece? So I'm sure that there's more that I'll think about as soon as I turn the camera off. But anyway, that's today's vocal quick tip, and I hope that that's helpful for you, give you some more to think about. And of course, if you're already familiar and aware of these kinds of elements, these kinds of things, just consider it a reminder, maybe a different way to think about it, or a more expanded way to consider the subject matter. At any rate, please do comment and subscribe. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video, and definitely please let me know. I love communicating with you all, and I appreciate the comments. Happy to answer back as much as I'm able to. Definitely let me know if there's a particular subject matter that you'd like for me to address, or a question you'd like me to answer. I'd be happy to do so. One last thing too, couple things. I haven't really been pushing, so to speak, my Twitter address, or Facebook and other social media. Some videos I do, some I don't. They're all listed below, but definitely I invite you to join me on Facebook, on my Dr. Angela Celeste May professional page. So it's where I show music stuff, and also my life as an author as well, and other things that I do, and public speaker. So please do join me there. Give me a like and join me over there. My Twitter name is Celeste, which is CELESTE MUS and the number 1. So Celeste MUS1 stands for music, short for music, number 1. And then of course Reverb Nation, love for you to come join me over there as well. You can get on my mailing list and get updates on things that I'll be doing. I do have some live performances coming up here in Detroit, so I'm gonna let you know about that. It's coming up this spring. I have several, or a few anyway, as we are wrapping up the recording of the second CD. So I have a series of performances planned leading up to the CD release. I'd love for you to come out and join me there, and we can meet and talk in person. And finally, my actual CD, my first CD, my debut album called No Limits. Please do go to cdbaby.com/Angela Celeste May and pick up your copy today. I recently talked to a gentleman who bought my album, and he said, I love your music is fantastic. fantastic. So I was very flattered. I really appreciated that. That meant a lot to me. So yeah, do check it out and take a listen. I think you'll really like it. It's very, very original, all written and produced by me and using some of the finest musicians in the city of Detroit, including my mom, my brother, and my sister, family, and my husband. But those folks and other musicians as well. So check it out and pick up a copy and let me know what you think. You can get the entire album at cdbaby.com/Angela Celeste May, or you can purchase individual singles at Reverb Nation, on my Reverb Nation site also. And again, as I've mentioned in the past, 50% of every sale of those singles goes to the charity Water, which brings clear and clean drinking and bathing and water to places around the world that don't have access, and they're working to get access. So very worthwhile charity. In the meantime, God bless, take care, and I love you all. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye-bye.